This is David Spark. I'm the producer of the CISO series. I am here with Tim Keeler, one of the founders of Remediant, a privileged access management solution, and he's going to show me right now how this solution actually works. Tim, show me what you got.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. So we're going to do a tour of SecureONE, how you log into the system, how it operates without any agents, and how companies can get to scale very quickly with our technology. So what we're going to do is log into the SecureONE interface using multi-factor authentication. I put in my domain username, my password, and now I'm just pulling my second factor token from my Google Authenticator app on my phone here. Here we have the SecureONE Dashboard. So what this is really giving us is a high-level view into the environment around privilege. We scan every system on the network to get a list of accounts that are in the local administrator group on each system. And so we take all of this information and then we cross-reference this with a full Active Directory sync. Here we have 108,000 systems. We have about 50,000 users and about 59 groups in here. And so this is actually kind of a real key thing around scalability for very large environments. What we do is we have a couple of snapshots here, both identifying the accounts that have lots of administrative access to systems, as well as systems that have lots of administrators who can log in with admin privilege. And so what I'm going to actually do is just drill right into our insight view. As we scan the entire network, we do this very, very fast. So within minutes, you'll start seeing administrative privilege show up on this chart. And what we do is we stack rank all of the accounts. So you see which accounts have lots of admin privilege. And then here down below, you can see all the different systems with lots of administrators. And so here you can see this HR server has 57 accounts that can log in with admin privilege. You don't always have visibility by just logging in and looking at a system here. So I'm going to actually bring up this HR server via remote desktop. When you first log into a system, you see the accounts or the groups with admin privilege, and you're like, okay, well, this isn't a real big deal. So here you can see, okay, just a small handful of accounts with admin privilege, but there's a couple of domain groups in here, and this is where nested groups in Active Directory can cause just a huge amount of problems in the environment. So if we take a look at this HR server, and in fact, what I'm going to do is go into this detailed view for this system here. I'm going to bring up this HR server. We do this continually, right? Because we know administrative privileges change all the time, whether it's the group memberships in Active Directory or it's within the actual admin group on the system itself. Here you can see right now 57 users can log in with administrative level privilege, and this applies to the local accounts here at the top. But we've taken all of those domain groups and broken down the hierarchy and the structure around this so you can see every individual that has admin level privilege on this system.
How much manual control do I need over this? How much of this can be automated?
So this is where being able to deploy fast and get to scale is really important. So here we can see, okay, here's how the privilege has changed over time. Obviously, 57 people don't need admin level privileges on this system all the time. And so that's where we take this principle of zero standing privilege and reduce all of the amounts of persistent admin access and grant that on the fly. So what I'll do is actually bring up here, if we take a look at this grant access page, I'm actually going to enroll this system into protect mode. And so on the right-hand side, we have the inventory, which was picked up from the last scan from SecureONE. So we see what accounts are in the local admin group. And this is a great place to start as your baseline set of administrators. All of these people can log in directly to the system, and that's here reflected. We have a scan mode turned on. With protect mode, we have the ability to set this policy on, and that means, okay, we're going to take all of those accounts and we're going to remove them from the local administrative group. And so this way we're taking away all of that standing privilege for these accounts and then allowing administrators to log into SecureONE with multi-factor authentication and then dynamically get access to the system. What I'm going to do here is go ahead, I turned on protect mode. I'm going to force a policy refresh for this particular system. And now what we've done is we've taken all of the ability to log in directly to this system with administrative privilege. So if I go back to my remote desktop here, we'll see, hey, I just tried to remote desktop in, and I have this error message. It says, you might not have permission to sign in remotely. And so this is really important, right? Because if my credential is compromised, an attacker can't log onto the system, whether it's remote desktop, PowerShell, SSH, any mechanism that you would log onto a particular system. So for this HR server, all I have to do is type in the name of that system, and then you can see my account is here in the allowed list for this particular system. So I'm going to click on Access System here. And so what SecureONE does is it verifies, hey, I should be an administrator on this system. I've requested access, and now it took my account and put it into the local admin group on this system.
Okay,
and
so
it's
all
system.
on the fly, and it's as people are asking for access at each level, so
Yes.
it's not persistent.
Yes, exactly. And so we can set what we want as our default expiration. We have it set to 4 hours here. And so for the next 4 hours, I can log on and off of this system with administrative privilege. So if I go back to my remote desktop now, I can log in to the HR server, and you'll see, okay, I'm now able to log back into this particular system. And if we take a look at the administrators group, we can see all the other accounts that were there have now been pulled out.
Yeah,
so
there was a huge list
right,
before.
and so we have it's just some SecureONE service accounts, which gives us the ability to add and remove other administrators, and then my account, which was added onto the system because I clicked on this.
And in
access
4 hours,
system
that'll be
button.
gone.
Right.
Let's say they get within that first 4 hours, they get in. Even if they were to create other accounts, those accounts would disappear as well, yes?
Yeah, and so what I'll do here, let's see if we have a David on our list. I'm sure we got plenty. Well, I'll just pick this David account here. I'll pick on you. So I've added this account into the admin group. And if I go back to SecureONE, so we'll pick this up as part of our continuous monitoring and inventory. I'm just going to force a rescan on this particular system. We can see that account was just detected, put into the inventory of SecureONE. We have the system in protect mode. So if we go into the admin group, we can see that account was now removed. And so it helps you stop administrative sprawl. And this is the big problem that you have is people always grant admin permissions, nobody ever takes it away. And so managing this from a zero-standing privilege perspective is really important. So if I go back to my remote desktop, we'll see in the admin group here, we only have the minimum account. So my account that was provisioned by SecureONE for that just-in-time access, and then the SecureONE service accounts, which gives us the ability to add and remove accounts. And so this is important, right? Because we were at 57 individuals that could log in with administrative privilege. Right now, it is just one, that's me, and it's been granted by SecureONE after I went through that multi-factor authentication check. And so this is important, right? Because if you take this in the scope of every system in your environment, we stop the ability to move laterally with administrative credentials, right? This is kind of at the crux of all the attacks, whether it's a ransomware attack or it is maybe a nation state actor that's trying to pivot around to get access to the type of data or system that they're after. And so kind of with this whole idea of zero-standing privileges, we want to remove all of that persistent admin access, reduce the amount of risk from an attacker's perspective, and that gives us the ability to stop that attack chain. What I'll do now is, we have this system enrolled in protect mode. I am going to close my remote desktop session. So here I'm just going to click on expire session. So saying, hey, SecureONE, I'm done with my job. If I didn't click this button, it would wait until that period that was defined. In this case, it was 4 hours. And here we have, okay, nobody with admin privilege can log onto this system. So if I go back into remote desktop, let's say an attacker has my username and password, and they're trying to log on to systems on the network. They would try to go directly to this HR server. Here we see again, I don't have permission to sign into the system. CISOs always ask me, how do I know the difference between an administrator just doing their job versus an attacker that's using those same credentials to try to log on to systems? Well, that answer has been a really challenging problem. And with this, we can now take all the events from these systems from the logging perspective, differentiating this event here, successful authentication, but the authorization was denied. So now you can take this data, really have visibility, and it could be an attacker that's trying to use those credentials to log on to systems on the network.
Tim, thank you very much for that demo. That was quite impressive, and I think what I was most impressed by is just all the levels of access management that you can control, and really on a just-in-time basis, and more importantly, just making access not a default, which is, I think, very valuable. Anyways, if you want to learn more about Remediant and their solution, SecureONE, just head over to remediant.com and request a demo, and you can ask a lot more questions than I asked of Tim right here.